Dsouza, the Chief of Growth and Insights at Bizom, is joining us on the show. Akshay, hi, good to be speaking with you. How sustainable do you think is this recovery? Is it too early to say that the worst is over? Or there are enough signs that gives you the confidence that rural recovery is only going to improve from here on?
Thanks for having me on the show, first of all. And look, I think the good news that I kind of see is I see green shoots, strong green shoots in Dabur. I see very strong green shoots in Nestle. And I tell you where this confidence comes from. So if you look at Nestle's report, I think they kind of said that they're now covering 2 lakh villages of India under direct distribution. You look at Dabur, they're saying they're covering 1.2 lakhs odd villages. What's important is that they've now taken direct distribution to rural and basically using that as a lever for growth. And that's what's fueling growth from rural today, which means building distribution infrastructure and making products available to rural consumers on a consistent basis is by itself driving growth. Consumption then becomes the next lever for growth on top of that. So I think that's what's kind of bringing a lot of optimism to me. And I think I can see that that definitely is a key trend going forward. And I can see almost all these companies that you mentioned earlier are actively pursuing a rural growth strategy and a strong distribution strategy for rural.
Right. But actually, to the point that Anisha was asking, whether it looks sustainable or not, because soon we're going to be, looking up to the skies to figure out whether it's going to be a normal monsoon or not. And I guess a lot of rural demand also is dependent on that.
Yes. Monsoon definitely is a key factor. But like I said, monsoon is one of the factors. On top of the incremental business that you will generate from just being available, this next incremental business is definitely going to be generated from people having disposable incomes and strong disposable incomes. And the agri-led economy definitely plays a part. And I think that will definitely come as a factor. But one of the factors that you're actually seeing now playing out is a lot of companies are typically playing on the premiumization of the portfolio. And this premiumization is not limited only to urban. It's also kind of getting down into rural. And I think beyond your specific low price points, I think you have a segment of consumers, even in rural, who actually picks on premium products very actively. So I think that's the other strategy that is essentially going to drive growth for organizations beyond just having agri income for regular growth. But I think the premiumization is also another factor of the growth story.
Akshay, you made that distinction for us in terms of premium versus mass, but within the categories itself, is there a particular category that you are seeing a faster growth of? Let's say consumer durables, for instance, or within the food basket as well. It's largely staples, or there are other products which are doing better?
Yeah, so actually one of the factors that you're seeing move up right now, I think beverages definitely is in season. So you are seeing a very, very strong spike in beverages. Beyond that, we were seeing a strong growth on essentials and not so much on discretionary. But I would expect that the discretionary portfolio will now get driven further with premiumization. And there's going to be a lot of volume play that has happened. Some of these price cuts that have happened last quarter are kind of will stabilize now. And I think you will eventually lead it into, as you kind of hit the festival time, into even.
We seem to have snapped that line.
So I think this is how I can see the categories moving for the moment. Consumer durables definitely going to play a big role, have a big season. I think we're looking at a strong double digit for them too.
Right. Actually, the other thing I wanted to understand was who's going to win a battle? And, this is more from a market perspective as well. Do you think it's those which with a larger rural exposure, they are the ones because the alpha generation there could be higher? Or the ones which have an equal weightage to both urban as well as rural markets are going to finally win?
Okay, that's a wonderful question because I think my thoughts on that are very clear. Anybody who's actively strategizing growth and pursuing rural as a strategy is winning today. And I think that's very, very evident. And I think if you look at, and that's where I kind of put Dabur and Nestle when I kind of began my conversation. So any incremental that you do to building that network and that product portfolio and that consumer is the guy who's winning the game today.
Just a last question before I let you go. Off late, we had also heard a lot of commentary about how unorganized and regional players were eating into the market shares of the listed companies per se, or the larger players. And today as well, Marico was hinting that at the bottom end of the range, they are losing a bit of a market share. Anything that you have, kind of heard on the ground regarding that?
Yeah, so there is an active movement that we are seeing, at least in packaged foods, especially in biscuits. And I think you're seeing a lot of regional players who are seemingly doing well. Even in the bakery side, we're seeing some of that happening. I think one of the things that has happened is these regional players have now figured that they can leverage their brand beyond the pockets where they have, and there is a lot of equity lying in consumers beyond their core geographies. And I think I can see that move happening from brands based in the East. There are brands based in the North who are essentially moving the other side and kind of widening their portfolio. So I think that is a strategy that I will see this continuing to go as brands figure out how to do direct distribution better.
Right. Okay, Akshay, great to have you on the show. Thanks for sharing with us that perspective on what's really going on within the FMCG sector. Sure enough, today all of them are the only star performers, perhaps. But Kunal,